ulcers because obviously it's quite similar. Okay. I was fortunate enough to be brought up in a Christian family where my parents talked to us about Jesus from a young age. And we attended a fellowship church throughout my youth. I was young when I asked Jesus into my heart, but then reaching my early teens, I felt very disconnected to the youth group and began to rebel as a teenager, turning away from the church and just living my own life and getting led astray. Throughout my 20s, this sinful life continued and my social life was spent in bars and clubs. I was admittedly very far from the Lord. I would talk to him generally only when I needed help or things weren't going well for me. I was rebellious in my ways and liked living a life that suited me, but really I was in darkness. Around my mid-30s, I knew in my heart that I wanted to get connected with God, but for some reason I struggled and I wasn't bearing much fruit. I wasn't quite sure how or where to start. I guess having kids makes you think about life more, and having Ollie, I felt the Holy Spirit stirring me up and my heart was changing. I had a deep longing to get closer to God. I heard about a local church starting in Alpha and decided to join it, even though I knew the gospel. I just wanted to get back to basics. I was so delighted when Ross said he wanted to do it with me. We both really enjoyed the course, and the week after we finished, we relocated to London and started to attend Hillsong for many months. We wanted to find a new church that we felt we belonged to and tried a few others after that, but never finding the right one for us. After this period, I also started Bible study in central London, which then went online throughout COVID. I was able to continue this whilst in Egypt. It was through these years that the Lord became more real to me and I felt closer to him and wanted to live pleasing him. Me and Ross had been praying for a suitable job abroad for him to come along for several years. Living in London through difficult times with his leg operations whilst I was pregnant and then COVID, being in a two-bedroom flat, life was tough and we needed change. The jobs abroad were scarce due to COVID, but this one job came up in Cairo and we decided to apply, not thinking anything would come of it. We had both dreamed of living in Dubai or somewhere glamorous in the UAE, and of course Africa had never been anywhere we visualised. But God had his hand in it, and it was where he wanted us to be, and now I understand why. For me, moving to Cairo was a big turning point for my faith and my relationship with God. I feel God used this time to draw me a lot closer to him. After a few months, I decided I wanted to do some volunteer work, as I was fortunate enough not to have to work, and seeing so much poverty on the streets every day was heartbreaking. I was praying for the right opportunity to come my way, and then very quickly, through Ollie's school, I met a Christian parent who was Egyptian and worked with street kids doing ministry work. He took me to one of the worst neighbourhoods in the city, called Garbage City, named as such because this is where the entire city waste is dumped. And the streets are lined with mountains and mountains of filth. Majority of the people living here go through the rubbish manually by hand to recycle and try and make a small living. The kids here generally do it too from a very young age, or else just play amongst the rubbish. The families here suffer from extreme poverty and are prone to disease due to their unhygienic living quarters. When I visited this area, I was deeply affected by what I had seen and the chronic conditions the kids were living in and playing in day out. After leaving, I felt very overwhelmed and full of fear, but I knew God really wanted me to help the kids in this neighbourhood. I had to fully trust him that he would help me do so and guide me step by step. As it wasn't through a charity, there was no support as such. decided not only to visit the kids regularly like Megan had suggested, but to raise money and make a difference. Very quickly I raised several £1000s on my social media. And with this money I was able to create a clean, safe indoor area where they could go and get off the streets. Through the whole 10 months I spent here at this daycare, I drew closer and closer to God. I really realised the power of prayer as our provisions were just flowing in non-stop. God was so gracious and kind and so faithful over and over again, providing us with not only all this funding to fully equip it, but also with 4 sponsors who still pay for 4 workers' salaries and a sponsor who pays for the food each month for 45 kids. This experience was life-changing for me, and my relationship with God became stronger and stronger. Then, out of the blue, God opened up a door for us to come back to the UK with Rose's career. We had never imagined returning to the UK so soon, and of course I didn't want to leave the kids. We prayed about our decision for 4 weeks or more. During this time I felt that the Holy Spirit was telling me it was because He would connect us to the right church, something which hadn't happened whilst we were in Cairo. The one Christian church in Cairo was quite a few miles away, and we never felt a love or a longing for this church, and so it became a drag for us to go. Myself and Ross had been praying that God would lead us to a community church for several years. However, this had not yet been answered. So we both felt that coming back to Abbeymoor was where God wanted us to be. And so we decided to make the move back. I feel God has definitely led us to the church as He knew the desires of our heart. Now I can stand firm in my faith and can say that I have a deep connection with God, my Father, who selflessly gave up His Son, Jesus Christ, to die for us and offer us complete salvation through His blood. I love Him very much, and I'm so thankful for all that He has done for me. It's so comforting to know that I can come to Him at any time and ask for forgiveness and for His mercy. Also that He is in complete control of my life and that I can lay every burden at His feet. I am eager to live a life serving Him, and I know there is a place for me in His heart, in His house. I cannot wait to meet Him one day face to face in eternity.
Oh, what a delight.